I replied, do I have to kiss her? Rain had a way of making New York feel smaller. That afternoon, it pressed against the cafe windows like it wanted in, blurring the streetlights and softening the city's sharp edges. I sat alone at a corner table, laptop closed, coffee untouched, wondering how my life had become so predictable at 28. That's when she walked in. Margaret Hale didn't look lost. She didn't scan the room or hesitate near the door. She walked straight toward me like she already knew where she was going. Are you Daniel? She asked. Yes, I replied, standing halfway out of politeness. Sit, she said gently, already pulling out the chair across from me. That should have been my first warning. Margaret folded her umbrella neatly and placed it beside her chair. Her silver hair was tied back, her coat tailored perfectly. She looked like someone used to being listened to. Thank you for agreeing to meet, she said. I didn't exactly agree, I replied. You said it was about a job recommendation. She smiled faintly. It is. In a way. That made no sense, but curiosity kept me seated. You helped me last week, she continued. Outside the Hale Financial Building. I slipped. I remember, I said. You didn't have to track me down for that. I wanted to, she said simply. Good character is hard to find. She studied me carefully, as if measuring something invisible. Then she said the sentence that changed everything. I need you to pretend to be my daughter's fiancé. The hum of the cafe suddenly felt too loud. I blinked. I'm sorry, what? You heard me correctly. I laughed under my breath, certain this was some kind of test or prank. That's not a normal favor, I said. Margaret nodded. I'm not a normal woman. I leaned back in my chair, crossing my arms. Why would you even ask a stranger? Because strangers don't come with expectations, she replied. And you're not entirely a stranger. That didn't make me feel better. I don't know your daughter, I said. I don't know your family. And I definitely don't pretend to marry people for a living. She didn't flinch. You won't marry her, Margaret said. Just stand beside her. I was about to stand up when her voice softened. My daughter is being pressured, she said. That stopped me. By who? Everyone, she replied. Our family. Our community. Our business partners. She sighed. A woman her age, successful and unmarried, becomes a topic instead of a person. I stayed silent. She's strong, Margaret continued. But even strong people get tired of defending their choices. I looked down at my hands. So you want to lie, I said. Yes, she answered calmly. So the truth can breathe. I rubbed my face. How long? I asked. 3 months, she said. Until a major family event passes. And what exactly would I be expected to do? Attend dinners. Smile politely. Answer questions. She paused. Be respectful. I hesitated. And physical stuff? She raised an eyebrow slightly. Kissing, I clarified. Do I have to kiss her? Margaret considered this. Only if necessary, she said. And only what both of you agree to. That surprised me. You'd let her decide? Always, Margaret replied. This is for her, not me. What's her name? I asked. Claire. Something in the way she said it, protective, proud, made me curious despite myself. How old is she? 26. Good. Adult. At least the universe hadn't completely lost its mind. What does she do? She runs strategy for our West Coast expansion, Margaret said. She's smarter than most men twice her age. That's part of the problem. I exhaled slowly. And does Claire know about this plan? Margaret hesitated for the first time. She will, she said. If you agree to meet her. The rain outside grew heavier. I should have said no. I had no reason to say yes. No obligation. No guarantee this wouldn't explode spectacularly. But something about Margaret's honesty, and the exhaustion behind it, kept me seated. Just a meeting, I said finally. No promises. She smiled, relief softening her features. That's all I ask. She slid a card across the table. Tomorrow evening, she said. Her apartment. I picked up the card. Claire Hale. As Margaret stood to leave, she paused. One more thing, she said. Yes? My daughter doesn't like being controlled, she warned. If you try to play a role instead of being yourself, she'll see right through you. I nodded. Margaret walked out into the rain, leaving behind a question I hadn't planned on answering. Claire Hale's apartment didn't feel like a place where people pretended. It was modern but lived in. Books stacked unevenly on the coffee table. A laptop open on the kitchen counter. No soft lighting, no decorative clutter. Everything had a purpose. Just like her. She opened the door, took one look at me, and didn't smile. So, she said flatly, you're the man my mother recruited off the sidewalk. I glanced past her, then back at her. More like a cafe, I replied. That earned me the smallest arch of an eyebrow. Come in, she said, stepping aside. Claire was tall, confident in a way that didn't ask permission. Her dark hair was pulled into a loose knot, sleeves rolled up like she had better things to do than entertain strangers pretending to be her future husband. She crossed her arms as I stood in the middle of her living room. Let me guess, she said. You're here because she promised you money, influence, or guilt. None of the above, I replied honestly. She studied my face, clearly searching for the lie. Then why are you here? I met her gaze. Because she's worried about you. That landed. Not hard, but deep. Claire exhaled slowly and turned toward the window. She always is, she said. And she always thinks she knows best. She faced me again, eyes sharp. Let's make something clear, she said. I didn't ask for this. And I don't need saving. I didn't come to save you, I replied. I came to listen. That surprised her. She gestured toward the couch. Sit. We sat opposite each other like negotiators, not lovers. My family thinks my career is impressive, she said. Right up until they realize it didn't come with a husband. I nodded. They don't say it directly, she continued. They just ask questions. Over and over. Like my life is unfinished. She leaned back. So my mother decided the solution was to rent a man. I'm not rented, I said calmly. I haven't agreed to anything. That made her pause. You can still walk away? Yes. She searched my face again. Why haven't you? I thought about it. Because I know what it's like to be judged for not living on someone else's timeline, I said. Silence settled between us. Claire finally spoke. If we do this, she said, we do it on my terms. Fair. No controlling behavior. No fake jealousy. No dramatic gestures. I'm not dramatic, I said. She smirked. My mother said that too. She continued. This is a public performance only. We don't blur lines in private. What about holding hands? I asked. Only when necessary. Kissing? She grimaced. Short. Rare. Strategic. I couldn't help it, I smiled slightly. You've thought this through. I think everything through, she replied. She stood and walked closer, stopping a few feet away. One more thing, she said. Why you? I shrugged. Your mother thinks I'm decent. Claire tilted her head. Are you? I met her eyes. I try to be. She studied me for a long moment. Then she extended her hand. 3 months, she said. After the family summit in July, we end it. I shook her hand. Deal. Her hand was warm. Firm. Lingering just a second longer than necessary. She pulled back quickly, clearing her throat. I'll send you the details for the first dinner, she said. And Daniel? Yes? This only works if we don't forget it's fake. I nodded. But as I walked toward the door, something told me she was wrong. As I reached for the handle, Claire spoke again. Why did you ask about kissing? I turned. Because pretending intimacy is harder than pretending conversation, I said honestly. She considered that. Good, she said. Then don't pretend more than you can handle. I left her apartment knowing one thing for certain. This arrangement wasn't dangerous because it was fake. It was dangerous because it felt possible. The first family dinner was scheduled for Sunday night. Claire sent me the address, the dress code, and a short message that said, "Don't be late. Don't overdo it. And don't let them intimidate you." That last part made me smile. The Hale family home sat behind tall iron gates in Westchester, the kind of place that looked calm only because it had never known uncertainty. Claire waited by the front steps when I arrived. She wore a deep blue dress, simple, elegant, confident. Not trying to impress anyone. That alone told me everything about her. You look acceptable, she said. High praise, I replied. She glanced at my suit. You clean up well. There was a pause, just long enough to notice. Then she stepped closer. Remember, she said quietly. Once we go in, you're mine. I nodded. She slipped her arm through mine. It felt natural. Too natural. The moment we stepped inside, the energy shifted. Conversations paused. Heads turned. Smiles sharpened. Margaret spotted us from across the room and exhaled in relief. There they are, someone said loudly. Claire's grip tightened slightly. I leaned closer and murmured, You okay? Yes, she said. Just, stay close. I didn't let go. We barely made it 3 steps before the first wave hit. So this is the fiancé, an older man said, shaking my hand firmly. What do you do, son? Consulting, I replied. Risk strategy. A lie, but a careful one. Close enough to truth. And how did you meet Claire? Claire answered smoothly. Through work. I nodded. She corrected my numbers. That earned a few laughs. Claire glanced at me, surprised. True, she admitted. The tension eased, for a moment. Dinner was formal. Long table. Assigned seats. I sat beside Claire. Margaret across from us, watching like a general monitoring the battlefield. Midway through the meal, her aunt leaned forward. So, she said sweetly, when did you know you were serious about Claire? The table quieted. Claire froze just slightly. I felt it. I placed my hand over hers under the table. It wasn't planned. It wasn't necessary. But it helped. When I realized she never pretends to be less than she is, I said calmly. And somehow still make space for other people. Claire turned to look at me. For a second, the world disappeared. Dessert arrived. So did the final test. Engaged couples usually look happier, her cousin said, smirking. Don't they? Claire's jaw tightened. Margaret didn't intervene. This was on us. I turned toward Claire. Slowly. Deliberately. May I? I asked quietly. She hesitated, just a fraction. Then nodded. I leaned in and kissed her cheek. Soft. Brief. Respectful. But when I pulled back, she hadn't moved away. Her hand stayed in mine. The room relaxed. Conversation resumed. But Claire was still looking at me. We stood outside later, the night air cool and heavy. You didn't have to say all that, she said. I know. Then why did you? I thought about it. Because it was true enough to pass, I replied. She exhaled. They liked you. I noticed. She leaned against the railing, rubbing her arms. Thank you, she said quietly. For not making me feel like a project. I looked at her. You're not, I said. You're a person. She smiled, not the polite kind. The real one. As I walked her to her car, she stopped. This worked tonight, she said. But we need to be careful. Why? Because pretending feels different when it stops feeling like work. I nodded. I'm aware. She opened the car door, then paused. Next time, she said, we rehearse the compliments. I smiled. Next time. She drove away, leaving me standing there with one undeniable truth. The lie had held. But something real had slipped through the cracks. After the dinner, everything accelerated. Claire's family didn't just accept me, they embraced me. Invitations followed. Events. Casual mentions of when you two move closer. What had started as a shield was turning into a spotlight. Claire and I developed a rhythm. In public, we were seamless. In private, we were careful. Too careful. We'd sit on opposite ends of the couch, phones in hand, pretending not to notice how natural it felt when we didn't. One night, after a long charity gala, she kicked off her heels and dropped onto the couch with a groan. I forgot how exhausting rich people are, she muttered. I laughed. You held your own. She glanced at me. You did too. There it was again, that look. Not guarded. Not defensive. Curious. She broke it first. Tomorrow's the company mixer, she said. You don't have to come. I know. A pause. But you will, she added. Yes, I replied. The mixer was crowded, loud, polished. Claire slipped her hand into mine as soon as we walked in. Already? I teased quietly. Someone's here, she murmured. I followed her gaze. A tall man stood near the bar, confident smile, expensive suit, watching us with open interest. Who's that? I asked. My ex, she said flatly. Evan. Of course his name was Evan. He approached within minutes. Claire Hale, he said warmly. I heard congratulations were in order. She straightened. Daniel, she said, introducing me. My fiancé. Evan's smile flickered. Fiancé, he repeated, looking me up and down. Lucky man. Depends who you ask, I replied calmly. Claire squeezed my hand, harder this time. Evan didn't leave. He hovered. Asked questions. Laughed too loudly. You always hated public events, he said to Claire. Funny how people change. She bristled. She didn't change, I said. She just stopped apologizing. Evan looked at me sharply. Claire turned, surprised. Thank you, she said quietly. Later, when Evan finally walked away, Claire exhaled. I hate that he still gets under my skin. You don't owe him anything, I said. I know. She hesitated. But seeing you stand there like that, it helped. Something tightened in my chest. We stepped outside onto the balcony for air. City lights stretched endlessly around us. Did you ever love him? I asked. The question surprised both of us. Claire studied the skyline. I loved the idea of being chosen, she said. But not the cost. I nodded. She looked at me then. Why did that matter to you? I didn't answer right away. Because, I said carefully. If this were real, I'd want to know. Silence fell between us. Heavy. Honest. As we stood there, laughter drifted from inside. The world continued, unaware. Claire stepped closer. We should practice, she said softly. Practice what? She looked up at me. Kissing, she said. In case someone comes out. This time, there was no urgency. No audience. Just us. I searched her face. Only if you're sure. She nodded. So I kissed her. Not her cheek. Her lips. Slow. Gentle. Controlled. When we pulled back, she didn't step away. Neither did I. That, she whispered. Felt different. Yes, I said. It did. On the ride home, the silence wasn't awkward. It was thoughtful. At her apartment door, Claire paused. This is getting complicated, she said. It always does, I replied. When people stop pretending. She met my eyes. Good night, Daniel. Good night, Claire. The door closed softly. And for the first time since this began, I realized something dangerous. I wasn't just playing a role anymore. I was hoping.